Hola, from the west side. It is me, DCThePurpleDiva, and welcome to Not So Random Chat. Happy Sunday. And for those of you who practice and believe, happy Resurrection Sunday. And for my Jewish friends, happy Passover. And Easter for those of you with the bunny and egg trend, but y'all know I don't do that one. Anyway, I hope everybody's having a wonderful day and had a wonderful holiday weekend. For many of us, this is a time, that normally we would be doing a lot of celebrations. People would be having a lot of family over. Unfortunately, due to the current situation worldwide, we've all had to do this day in a different fashion than we would normally do it. I know, for myself, I went and got my annual honey baked turkey, but they were delivering them out to people, and they had people who were just coming and picking them up. They ordered it online. And then as far as the family celebration, well, it's basically whoever's in your house. That's it. No other people. So, I FaceTimed with my sister. I FaceTimed with my daddy, who is not in the same state as me, just to check on him. Really, I had to check on my dad, y'all. Because as I've stated on multiple occasions, my father is a doctor, and he does work in a hospital, although he, isn't like an emergency room doctor. But he has told me that he is basically doing teleconferences with patients. There is no one with the V on the staff at the hospital that he works at, nor are there any patients there with it, I am happy to say. And they're taking every precaution that they need to as far as ensuring the health and safety of their staff, being their doctors and their nurses. So I'm happy about that, because I was worried about my dad being out there on the front line, but this is what he went to school for. My dad has been a doctor for over 50 years. I can say that honestly. Over 50 years. So, I'm happy that he is doing what he loves, but I still would have rather that he was at home, safe and secure. For those who are in the chat, even if you aren't speaking, please feel free to smash that like button for me. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything to smash the like button. And I'd appreciate it. It helps. I promise. So, what I had for my Easter dinner, or Resurrection Sunday dinner, or Passover dinner, whichever way you want to look at it, what we had turkey. We had mashed potatoes, and we had some greens, and then we had some fried chicken for dessert. We had a little fried chicken for dessert, and fried chicken was good too. But going to celebrate the resurrection this morning was different, because it was Cyber Church. But it was interesting because my church put up a praise and worship that we did. It had to have been at least 7 or 8 years ago. Maybe not that long ago. But my son wasn't, I don't think my son may not have even been 18. So it was interesting to see the praise and worship, because it was a while ago and there were people that were in the choir at that time that are no longer in it. I think I'm going to share out my stream so I can get some people to come on in here with me that are not in the clouds. Let me see. How do I do it? Oh, yeah. So I'm going to share out my own stream. Let's see. Come join. Come join me right now. So I'm going to put that out on my community tab. There. Posted it out on my community tab. Now I'm back in the stream. Anyway, I know that today was a kind of, I don't know, for a lot of people, it was a different kind of celebration. There were a lot of, I saw celebrations that were on TV, on various channels. And then I saw some other celebrations that were done online. But here's one of the things that I do kind of, I don't say fear, but I have concern about. I have a concern about when churches are not considered essential. When people fellowshipping in regards to their religious beliefs is not considered essential. Now, I understand that you can't have more than, the 10 people. I understand that part right now. But in some places, churches were lumped in with casinos. I'm sorry, where if someone goes to gamble is not quite the same as where someone goes to pray or to fellowship with other people to pray. Hey, Zero. So I just think that's, yeah, the states consider churches, synagogues, mosques as non-essential. And I'm not just saying just in this country. I'm saying that it's in every country. In every country, churches were not considered essential. So once this happened, they got tossed out. And, to me, that's just something to think about, because when this is all over, and it's going to be over, What's going to happen to our religious freedoms at that point? Are we going to be allowed to fellowship again? Or are we going to be restricted on how many people can be in our churches, in our mosques, in our synagogue? Just asking a question, just putting it out there, because churches, mosques, and synagogues are considered non-essential during the V. And I don't consider a person's beliefs as something that's non-essential. Oh yeah, I know, uppity. I saw everything. We're not gonna talk about that stuff. We in the Zen zone over here. We're in the Zen zone. But seriously, in Zen zone. Oh. I said Zen zone.
Just checking up. I was just saying, okay.
Yeah, we're in a Zen zone over here. But it's and here's the thing. This is nothing against people who have no religious beliefs, don't believe in God or anything. I'm just simply putting this out there because the way that this is being set up by them becoming non-essential will help lead a way to make it easier for them to have that one world religion, because they have essentially shut down all the churches, the temples, and the mosques during this time around the world. Just think about that, you guys. Just think about that. Hey, Heaven Sent. It's like, I was just really thinking about that today, and looking at the way that, the world is celebrating this day today. Because, even if you are a non-religious person, the celebration of this day is pretty much, a worldwide, and it coincides, most of the time with the Jewish Passover, which is another thing. But you already know my feelings on Khazarian Jews, so I'm not going to even go there. I'm just going to speak on religious freedoms that may be taken away after what's going on currently. And I just want people to think about that fact. Now, granted, we can all do, worship and do whatever we want in our homes. But do we want it to go back to people having to have churches and whatever kind of in their homes and not being able to have public assemblies? Because that's what it is right now. That's what it is right now. Just something for you guys to think about in regards to that. Now, y'all might not even care about it. Hey, Magnum. In the parking lot. I know. And I know that there was some minister here in California who had a service last week. This week he did do it by cyber, but I understand what his point was. His point is that he is concerned about public assembly of churches being banned after this. And it's something that's that they could do. It's just something that could possibly happen. Hey, Manuel, happy Resurrection Day. I mean, this is, this isn't even about Christianity, because that's not the only religion, that meets in a building that has public assembly. Even the Church of Satan has their own church. They can't meet during this time either, by the way. Nobody can. So that's, but my point is that this could very well help to usher in that one world religion that they're trying to usher us to. And I'm a free thinker. And I don't believe that there is one belief that's a one size fit all. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe that. I believe people are entitled to have their beliefs and different beliefs, and be able to practice them. Now, obviously, we don't mean, going back to religious sacrifices and that kind of stuff. But, other things, such as being able to assemble in a meeting, in a building. Because right now we're all on the internet. I've seen more churches and synagogues and, mosques take to the internet. Taken to the internet. They've all taken to the internet. So, let me see what you guys are saying. I know that's what I'm talking about, Zero, because people are they're going to get, the thing is that some people may get used to this. Don't get used to this. Don't get used to the separatism that they have us in, the isolation for many people. I know that I believe that there are some European countries that are starting to partially open back up, hesitantly. And we do know that, some of our neighbors to the east are also starting to open up. But we now, every single state, including Alaska, by the way, and Hawaii, have some sort of shutdown in place as of, I believe, yesterday. Yes. There were 9 states holding out. There were 9 states holding out. Not anymore, because we now unfortunately, are the leader in what's going on. We've surpassed everybody else. And, I'm not going to even go in back and forth about blaming the administration, blaming China, because that's all irrelevant at this point. At this point, something needs to be done to plateau this and start to see the cases going down. I don't understand why we don't have more testing available, but And I'm not talking about the the nasal one because they have more advanced testing that they can get you the results faster, but it's not readily available, widely available rather. And I know that our government would like you to think that it would be better if we only tested people that had symptoms, but that's not true. I agree with you on that, Zero. That's why I'm just saying we just need to watch what's going on. Look at what rights you are voluntarily giving away right now. We are voluntarily giving away our right to assemble for religious practice. We've given that right away right now. Even though, it's because we are complying with, states and governments and everything. But we still have given that right up, nonetheless. We've basically given away some of our rights to the pursuit of happiness. Because we all got to sit up in our house all the time. Unless you're going out for essentials. And they keep changing what those essentials are. Well, yeah, I agree with you on that, Magnum. But some people being in an isolated state, they're not being reflective. They're not thinking about self. They're getting depressed. They're lonely because, and this is not for everyone, but some people don't know how to be by themselves. And now that they are by themselves, it's not a happy experience for some people. Even though, granted, you can still communicate. I mean, there's FaceTime, that you don't have to be all by yourself. But even if you are with other people, right now, while we're all in our homes, yeah, people should be reflecting on a lot of things. Those of us who are creatives, it should be inspiring us to be more creative, to create things, to finish things that we weren't finishing because we didn't have time. Well, we got time now, don't we? Like I have books that I'm working on finishing because I've got the time to finish them now. I'm not going places, doing things, I'm at home most of the time. Yeah, it's not like that for everyone. And then you have some people who are stuck with their families now. And and they thought they got along. But they don't get along because now they're in the house with each other 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And they're not communicating. Maybe because they weren't really communicating before, but because they were like ships passing in the night, they didn't have to deal with it. But this is a time where people who are in familial units or couple units or however, it is, to be communicating, talking, playing games, doing things, together. But I know that's not happening for some people. I mean, we have, in some situations, unfortunately, there are some domestic violence situations that are going on during this time. And there are women who can't get out of those situations because of what's going on, because they don't have anywhere to go. Then, hey, Miss Chantel. How are you? Haven't seen you in a while. You see, you still got your wrench, Miss Chantel. But, I mean, even if you like the people you're around, it's still hard being trapped in the house all the time. You know? But it's easier if it's bearable with the people that you're with. Of course, we're going to have a whole bunch of, I guess this is going to be another baby boomer 2.0, 21st century, because it's going to be a whole bunch of babies that are going to be born next year, that are going to get created while folks are stuck in the house. That's a good thing, since they're so scared about, the population in our country. But every day we're losing people. And y'all know I spoke about this before. I mean, and it's not any secret. They're talking about it. They're talking about that there's a higher percentage of Black people in our country. And it's because many of us have predispositions for certain ailments, such as, diabetes, being asthmatic, hypertension, and heart issues. But we are not that much of the population in this country yet. More of us are being positive and succumbing to this, which is very, very unfortunate. And I don't know if it's drawn across socioeconomic lines in regards to that, because they don't really know yet. But it's a concern to me, because some of the things that we have predispositions to is really, routed in the way that we eat, but it's because of, how we came to this country and how we learned how to feed ourselves, how our ancestors learned how to feed themselves with the leftovers and with the bad parts of the food, and made them into good things, and I know for a large portion of the population, changing the way that they eat is not that easy, and now we're at this point where not having made that change before in life is costing. Thank you, Zero. That's right. Make sure you hit that like button. Wow, I understand. I hear what you're saying, Magnum. I was glad when I FaceTimed with my dad today, because while he's working, he's not around his, he's not going to be around. He's not around his wife during the week, because he's, even though he's not seeing patients or anything, he's still working in a hospital, because, doctors are considered essential. But then he still has to be worried about the fact of not trying to catch anything and not trying to take anything back home. Thankfully, my dad doesn't have too many things going on with him. Just needs to drink more water. But he is an older black man. But he's not overweight. He doesn't have diabetes. He has a little high blood pressure that he just started getting when he was in his 70s, and he's 81. But he still exercises. He's still taking good care of himself. But he still has to go out there and be out there in that environment. So I understand, because he's in that apartment near the hospital all week by himself, away from the family. Oh yeah, I know, Emmanuel. I heard about that. Yeah, they all of the world producers of oil have decided to reduce the oil, production, because realistically, who's buying a lot of gas. There's not a whole bunch of people buying a lot of gas. There's not a lot of demand for it. Gas prices have been falling, and the reason they're doing this is to stop the gas prices from falling. Because I'm seeing gas, and I'm in California, so keep that in mind. But I'm seeing gas here that's below $2.50, which is cheap for here. But yeah, they're trying to stop it from, what they're trying to do is stop the prices from going down. It's supposed to, I guess, stabilize it. But we haven't been, but the thing is that they haven't been bringing a bunch of oil in here. Most of the oil that we've been using lately has been homegrown oil. But, this is, Russia and the Saudis fighting. Yep, I agree, Magna. Because that's who you guys are. They become your family, because that's who you basically around right now. It becomes a family. But like I told my dad today, I appreciate you guys. You guys are on the front line. You're putting yourself out there, and I commend it. I commend it. But, right now, I don't know. Right now, at least in the state that I'm in California, they have us down until the middle of next month. And I believe some other states, most states are down at least until the end of this month. But I don't see things, jumping off quite that quickly. I mean, right now, if you're not in one of the essential jobs, there are jobs out there, but that you can do. Amazon and the grocery stores, because those are considered essentials. People can get jobs there, I guess, to make ends meet, while they're waiting for the stimulus check. Which, by the way, I don't know how long that's going to take, but I did mention yesterday that there is a website that has been put together by the IRS, in the in the United States Department of Treasury, so that people could put their information up there to ensure that they can get their direct deposit or their check in the mail. So if you think that they do not have your information from filing your taxes last year, if you haven't already filed your taxes for this year, then that's what you should do, is go to that website and make sure they have your information. Yep, that's what I said, Emmanuel. It's, and I have some other friends who are in, in the nursing field. I mean, one of the, excuse me, one of the members of my choir at church, she's the head nurse, and she's right there on the front line. She's right there on the front line. So I'm sure we all know someone who works in what they consider an essential, profession. And, we just have to cover them with prayers, really. Really cover them with prayers, because, yes, this, for most people, this just is a really, really bad flu. But for those people that it ends up getting into their lungs and everything, it's not good. It's hard, But I know that what's his name? Chris Cuomo. He's been talking about, because he was positive with this. He was saying that what his doctors told him to do was to not lay down when he felt like laying down, to sit up, to fight through this, because that was the only way he was going to be able to, help himself to get through it, faster. So that's one of the things that he said that he had been doing is, instead of just like giving in, he wouldn't give in to it. And, that's just like when, when we get, a lot of us, when we get the flu or we, get, really sick, a lot of times you'll try to just kind of fight through it until you can't fight through it no more, but with this, it's really, really important. But there's many, 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 many of us who will be asymptomatic. We will never get any symptoms of it, but we will potentially pass it off to someone else. That's why wearing those masks is very, very important. Not to protect you from other people's germs, but to make sure you're not spreading your germs around either. So if everyone has on a mask, then nobody's spreading their germs to anybody else. And if people are doing the social distancing, but you guys know there are still people who are absolutely refusing to put on freaking masks when they go into stores. Even when the stores refuse to serve them, they still will try to come in there with no mask on. Like, I don't know where you've been. Why aren't you following the rule? And it's a simple rule. I know it might be a hassle sometimes to put the mask on when you're going out in public and going to stores and everything, but that's really just to discourage you and to really make you stay your butt home and not go out unless you absolutely have to. Really. And in my house, I'm basically the designated one that, does that. But I only go out when I absolutely have to. And I'm going to the grocery store, or to the bank, or to pay bills, because the light bills still have to be paid, gas bills still have to be, make sure those are getting paid. But other than that, it's home. And it's okay. Glad I got Netflix. Glad I got Amazon Prime. Or I wouldn't have anything because I don't have cable. But then again, there's been a bunch of stuff going on YouTube that has kept a lot of people in the know.
Sure, fucking does.
And I'll just make one comment on it. This is what grown people do, unfortunately. Grown folk. And I don't know if it's about being YouTube famous or what, or, I don't know. But a lot of people are shaking their heads right now about the whole situation. That's what I'll say. And that's just one of the situations, because there's a few. There's a few. Told y'all there's a few. There's a few. Apparently, something going on with Tasha K and Mob Radio. Then there's a couple of other channels in the gossip and mukbang sector that are fighting. Yeah. And getting doxxed back and forth. So it just seems to be running rapid right now. While everybody's locked up in their house. While everybody's in their house locked up. This is the stuff that's going on. Yeah. And see, here's the thing. I remember when they were trying to push people, or they were trying to push women into other stuff other than going into full-fledged nursing careers. Bet they're sorry that they did that now. Because now we have a shortage. We have a shortage. And what's going on right now shows that. And it's not even just in this country. That's the sad part about it. It's not even just here. I mean, worldwide. Like, people stopped becoming doctors and nurses. Like, what? Did it stop being an honorable and needed profession in people's eyes? Anything in the healthcare, but we saw this. We saw that we didn't have enough people going into healthcare. They knew this at least 10 years ago. They knew this. And they were worried about it in regards to baby boomers, who are now the ones who are the older people, who are the ones who are most at risk, interestingly enough. Hey, Miss Mahogany. I don't get it about not wearing the mask. I don't get it. Here's the thing. We are watching all these other countries that have had this before us, that were wearing these freaking masks. And here's the thing, they're still wearing the mask. Like, for example, I'll just say this, like in China, that's something that they would normally do if they were sick. If someone is sick, they would normally put on a mask so that they wouldn't spread their germs. That was something that they would normally do. That's not something that we would normally do here in this country. Henceforth, why it's spreading like wildfire. But I don't get it. It's like they're trying not to make it mandatory, but maybe they need to make it mandatory. I mean, some counties and some cities are making it mandatory to wear the mask. It's mandatory around here. You know, and maybe if 45 would do this himself along with his VP, it might help. But he's walking around like he's immune. Maybe he is. Maybe he's taken something so that he won't get it. Who knows? There may be a vaccine. We don't know that. We don't know that it doesn't exist yet. Who knows? Oh, no worries, Miss Mahogany. I know, Emmanuel. Man, I just stay out of it because I don't know nothing about it, first of all. But I see what's going on, you know, and I definitely am listening. I'm definitely listening because some of the stuff is just downright low down dirty. And I'm like, and these are grown people doing this stuff. I don't know. Maybe it is to get attention. Maybe it is to get subscribers and everything. But that's not my way of getting subscribers. I get subscribers by actually, I don't know, going around and introducing myself to different people on YouTube. You know, that's what I do. You know. And I'll make it very plain. I don't do drama. You know, I've been through the dramatic parts of my life and they weren't on YouTube. You know, but some of the stuff that happens on here reminds me of stuff that happened in high school. And like in my 20s when people, yeah, I hung out with some characters at one point in my life. Let's just say that. I understand what you're saying, Magnum. It's really, the mask is really not what it's about. People aren't even doing the social distancing. And that's really what they need to do. They need to stay away from other people. It's really not about the mask. I agree with you on that. You know, the mask is not going to help you that much. You know, it's only about keeping your germs to yourself, really. You know, but people don't wear the mask. They're not doing the social distancing. You know, they're just, and they're not using good, you know, cleanliness. They're not washing their hands. They're not doing the stuff that they should be doing. That's really what it's about. If they would do the social distancing, it wouldn't even be about the mask. It wouldn't. The masks are for decorations. Yeah, the masks are for decorations. Yeah. But the thing is that, you know what, Miss Mahogany, a lot of the channel, well, I won't say a lot. I would just say some of the people, some of the areas that are involved in some of this stuff, they don't really want to be involved in that stuff, and they're trying to get away from that stuff. But people just keep trying to pull them back into the drama stuff. So I hope personally that it all just goes away. People, everybody's just about their content, and we don't have to hear about this. But I do understand, because they don't want people to get pulled into certain stuff. But we're all grown-ups on here, and the way I feel is that things that are done in the dark will come to light. So if people are doing stuff in the back chats and everything, it's going to eventually come out. And I guess that's what's happening right now, unfortunately. And it's just that right now everybody's at home. Most of us, are not going anywhere other than our homes. And so they have captive audiences to hear about all of the different things, good, bad, indifferent. So, and it's really up to us to figure out where the truth lies. But besides that, a lot of it still seems to be very, 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 very petty, very, very just without warrant, without merit. It's just like some of the stuff is started for why. It's like, why? So, I'm going to go to whose channel I want to go to. I don't do mess. I mean, I don't do doxing. And I don't particularly care for people pulling, people's kids into stuff, which is a lot of what's been going on in all of the different situations. Let me just say that. No matter where it was on YouTube, that's what was going on. They were pulling people's kids in, they pulled husbands, people who weren't even on the platform into YouTube stuff. But we're all adults. Oh yeah, that TK situation. That one's just, man. I mean, I like both of the channels. I don't even understand. I don't even understand. But I'll just say that it just seems like every time someone is doing something, or around Tasha other than Storm, they come out and all this crazy stuff happens. So I don't know. See, yeah, that's they carrying stuff between Facebook and YouTube. People got too much time on their hands. Hate groups. Child. The only groups that I'm in on Facebook are groups. I'm in a private group with my sorority sisters. I don't think I've ever made a secret that I'm a Delta. And I'm in a bunch of autism groups. Oh, and then I'm in a group with people from Washington, D.C. That's it. That's it. Maybe a natural hair group, but hate groups. They taking this YouTube stuff way too serious. This is business. Don't get me wrong. For many, many people, especially if they're monetized, and it should be about branding themselves. And if they're here and they're about branding themselves, then wouldn't they want to back away from some of the stuff that they're doing? You know, I don't know. Because, like, when I came here to continue doing stuff that I was already doing. I was already on stuff about autism. I just brought it to the YouTube platform, and doing the live streams. I took the experience I have from actually doing radio, internet radio, but it was radio. And it was actually it was internet, and it was local radio, like in the area where I was. But I took all of that and brought that here. And I'm branding myself as Artsy Autism Mom, because that's who I am. That's who I am. So, and I just come here with positive stuff. I just want to educate people. I like to collaborate with other people that are here to educate, like my brother Nkuma Toure, But no, I don't do drama. I mean, I'm sure that the drama will continue, because there's just some people, that's what they want to do. That's their reason for being on here. That's what they feel is going to get them the views. That's what they feel is going to validate their existence on YouTube. And that's fine for them. That's not my lane. So I'm not doing that. Oh no. No, yeah, because that little man, that one little chick, when she said whatever she said about about Jovi, all I knew was like, oh, I'm sorry, you have to go. She wasn't timed out. I just kicked her out of the room. If Jovi wants to let her back in at a later date, then she can let her back in. But she was saying something disrespectful, so she was out. And that's what a mod is supposed to do. So yeah, but it got a little crazy, because we had all the folk in there, and then really Jovi likes both of them. Natasha didn't come through there on that particular occasion. She's been kind of quiet these days, but her and Millie will work it out, or they won't. That's the thing. It's like, why are you bringing somebody's kids into it? Why are you bringing somebody's husband into it? Is he on YouTube? If he's not on YouTube, then don't talk about him. Unless they have brought their child on here, and the child has jumped in the middle of it, which I highly doubt that. And I'm saying, even if we're talking about adult children, because many people have adult children. Yeah, I wish somebody would go after my son. Let me just say that to y'all. But it gets crazy on here. People do stuff to people they don't even know. It's like, y'all don't know each other. You ain't never met that person. They just a person on YouTube. We can say we are whatever we want to say on YouTube. And, some of us are real about it, and some of us are not. And the fakers and the scammers, okay, so you eventually get called out. People figure out that you ain't real. And if you faked and scammed to get supporters on here, then you have a potential of losing supporters. That's why I say, be who you are. Don't pretend to be somebody else. It's just crazy to me, personally. That's just, my personal opinion, because, I have a digital footprint that's not just on YouTube, but all across of it. Yeah, You'll find DC the Purple Diva. I had a show called Vibing with DC. You'll find that somewhere out there in digital land, you know? So it's like, why pretend to be something that you're not? Be proud of who you are. And if you aren't proud of who you are, then change the things about you so that you can be proud of yourself. I mean, I'm just saying. Ain't no reason to be a faker and shaker. I know they all had. That's what I'm saying. Everybody was wrong for bringing the husbands and the kids into the situation. That's my opinion. You know, I don't think it should have happened on either side. Everybody said something. You know, they say what they said. That's the way they say it. I said what I said. Okay, you know, but they're innocent bystanders, not part of anybody's YouTube stuff. So I hear you, Magnum. Exactly. I'm too old to be somebody other than who I am. I can only be me. That's it. But I'm going to come on camera, you guys, because I'm about to shut this down because I got to go to work in the morning, even though I work from home. Let me see. Hey, everybody. How you guys doing? Sometime this week, I'm going to take these braids down. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. I'm going to take them down. Thank you guys for coming out and supporting me tonight. I appreciate you guys coming through and hanging out, just chilling on a Sunday night, on a Resurrection Sunday for some of us. And I will be back on tomorrow. For those of you who missed me last night I did it from my mobile phone, and I was on screen the entire live stream. I do that from time to time, but my son is back home tonight, so you know we don't know what he's going to do, so we couldn't do it that way. But ironically, he didn't even come through. I think he went to bed. But thank you guys for coming tonight. I will see y'all tomorrow, Monday. Hopefully, we will have some good news going around in our country, in the world as a whole. And until then, guys, I'm going to offer you guys, as always, peace and blessings from the West Side. I'll see you guys. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me.